Like earlier when I said the girls would be eating Whoppers and then the booth singing, and I was like, Whoppers be having tons of onions. I know that goddamn studio booth smelled like per D underarm. The folks at Fantasy were certainly thrilled to have a hit record on their hands. They couldn't even begin to wrap their arms around Sylvester. Sylvester wasn't interested in competing with the middle of the road disco people, he said, but with the stars in the disco big leagues: Giorgio Moroder, Donna Summer, Linda Clifford, Cerrone, Grace Jones. Sylvester didn't usually complain to anybody about Fantasy. He was grateful and loving his life. But when the company released a 12-inch disco mix of Disco Heat without his consent, Sylvester was livid. Listening to it at Harvey and Nancy's East Bay pad, he threw himself on their bed and cried. It took 4 months for us to mix that record, he said. And then to have somebody just roll the tape and these effects just come in and go out and lots of fabulous things are left out. The panning, the effects, the way you play with the electronics. What really pissed him off, just destroyed him, was the way someone else was credited with the concept of the mix. I died, I cried, I flipped out, he said. He threatened to walk on desks and scream and break things. In fact, band members heard that he walked into a Fantasy executive office, threw a pile of the records at the wall, and broke one on the man's desk. I'll never have that done to me again, he said. No one conceptualizes me. I am the concept. Oh, he told you. He told you niggas. What picture Sylvester would create of himself on any given day was something of a mystery, which was sort of his whole point. Some days he was butch. Other days it was full queen, says David Frazier. I had no idea who I was going to see from day to day, and I don't think he did either. He had an entire room devoted to his drags, and he would regularly rummage through it and run wild. But around the house where he was constantly building something or talking something or taking something apart, he was often quietly masculine, not the raging queen that people thought he was, said John Malley. I could believe that. Remember earlier when we were reading the book a couple of videos ago, the boyfriend that he had that was shooting dope said that Sylvester was a big, black, beautiful man with a BBC. The heroin dude said that basically Sylvester just wanted a trophy wife, not a trophy husband. I do sometimes get in the mood to be Donna Ross or Shaka Khan. Sylvester, I love being Sylvester. Who else? I'm going to add Bette Midler to my repertoire. You do what you have to do what you want to do, he'd say. Or people pay for Fantasy. Around the house where he was constantly building something or taking something apart, he was the quietly masculine, not the raging queen that people thought he was, says John Manley. He still often downplayed his costumes in the press. You do what you have to do what you want to do, he'd say. Or people pay for Fantasy, but he never stopped playing dress up of one kind or another. Me too. At the age of 52, I'm still playing dress up. It's amazing. He talked to a reporter about his new butch image while wearing eyeshadow, wearing men's clothing. Sylvester usually looked like a sweet little boy, big-eyed and round-faced. His butch thing, says his friend Jeannie Tracy, who joined his band as a singer in 1979, would be 15 bracelets and hoop earrings and a man's haircut. He wasn't doing drag though, says Robert Kingston. He was just being Sylvester. In the mighty reel video Sylvester made in January 1979, a bikini-clad dancer jiggles through the intro, then points her finger behind her as if to say, "And now the fabulous Sylvester." Sylvester sings to you as he walks slowly down a flashing staircase in a slimming black tunic, black leather pants, and a smart little black leather jacket. His lips are glossy. His hair is in tight black curls, and you can see the gap between his front teeth. He leaves the room, emerging next in a cocktail bar where several men in teeny weensy white shorts and tank tops walk in a circle while Sylvester walks towards you in a white suit, open at the neck, with sunglasses hanging from one pocket, carrying a white fan. In the next scene, he is in a loose jacket decorated with squiggly lines of silver black sequins and white tassels at the elbows and tuck of the same material. On his left hand are 6 white bangles, and there are 2 on his right. He is fanning himself rapidly as if all his flaming has made the room hotter. Then he's gone again, presumably to change his outfit. And in his place are 5 women in white hot pants doing a short disco dance routine. Sylvester finishes up the song in his black leather pants, this time with a shiny gold open tunic vest and an invented item of clothing around his waist, a sort of waist kerchief, also of shiny gold, and then takes his leave, heading back up the stairs in yet another tunic vest, this one loose-armed and multicolored and sparkly. He was the concept. Off the dance floor, Sylvester and the Tons could also shock and amaze. What people remember most about is Zora Rhodes and Martha Wash, besides their voices, is their eating. I don't know what the hell that means. I mean, this part right here, I think is a little, I'm not really, it's like a little in poor taste, but I can't even say it's in poor taste because he was being honest and truthful about what was happening. What the writer says is that the girls had no control in regards to their eating. Like, they would stop at fast food place and just be talking and laughing and food be flying out their mouth. Like earlier when I said the girls would be eating Whoppers and then the booth singing. And I was like, Whoppers be having tons of onions. I know that goddamn studio booth smelled like per D underarms. But in this part, he talks about how the girls just had no discipline with eating at all. Temperatures rising. The streets a place to go. 'Cause tonight for the first time, just about 10:30. But they were both very attractive women. They just were obese. Usually while Sylvester and the Tons were at a hip or fancy restaurant, the band was eating at some cheaper place. They were not quite part of the same family. They joked to each other that they should be called the Us and Them Band. Sylvester would stay in the president's suite, James Warwick says, and we'd be in the dorm room. Those things were arranged by management, but Sylvester had no objections. You know, the title tune of Sylvester's next album, Stars, was a flattering compliment to the love you feel for yourself on the dance floor. It was written by Patrick Crowley for Sylvester to perform at a big gay disco party, also called Stars on a Pier in San Francisco. The premiere of Stars was celebrated on March 21st, 1979 at the San Francisco War Memorial Opera House, where less than a year before Harvey Milk's memorial service had been held. Sylvester was one of the first pop acts to perform there. The Pointer Sisters and a few others beat him to it, and the first disco act. But he was the first gay act, unless you counted Madame Butterfly. It was, without a doubt, the biggest night of his life. So y'all, I'm about to talk about a period in my life, okay? That song, You Are My Friend, by Sylvester, done first by Patti LaBelle. So I get very emotional with this song because me and my sister were very young and we were both going through a very tough time in our lives. And to hear the breakdown of that night when he was in the opera house singing live a song that touched me and my sister, because like I said, we was going through a very tough time, and just to hear how it all unfolded is just simply beautiful. Throughout the opera house show, Sylvester took a series of diva poses, which the audience ate like candy. When someone called out, "Syl," he stopped in his tracks. The demanding diva, "Syl, do you know me? Turn these lights on. I want to see my friends. Shine the lights over here." The lighting guys seemed to be having a hard time. The lights, dear," he said, looking up to the booth. And when the technicians finally obeyed him, he thanked them so very much, with a weary, grand outpouring of breath. Later, he was the diva in love, dedicating a song to his lover, who is here tonight and who I love very much. Possibly the first time a man had ever dedicated a song to his boyfriend from such a prominent stage. The moment may have been more memorable for others in the audience than for John Maley, who says, "I remember him dedicating a song to me. I don't remember what it was, but it was very touching." Later still, moving a stool around Sylvester was the humble diva. "I still move furniture and things. Nothing's changed. I still wear the same old rags. I still do the laundry. Same old me." At the opening of the second act, he emerged from underneath the stage as his favorite ruby blue diva self, wearing the dark blue sequined number Robert Pentozzi had tried on the afternoon and silver beaded headpiece that dripped jewels, the microphone cupped in both hands, his face turned upward into the light, his eyes blue shadowed and lashes heavy and skin glowing, singing lover man, oh where can you be? Mostly Sylvester just singing and being fabulous, giving and getting love. He dedicated You Are My Friend, a lesser known Patti LaBelle song, to everyone in the audience. But it quickly became clear that it was a love song between Sylvester, Izora, and Martha. The lyrics about looking around and then realizing that what you were looking for was there all the time. Sylvester started telling the story of how they'd met. Little studio on 6th Avenue in Judah. First rehearsal in a VW going over Golden Gate Bridge, and how the tons had stuck with him through everything. You see, I don't know if y'all have noticed it or not, but these women can sing, y'all, he said. Honey, your ear has got to be in your foot to not hear these women can sing. They don't need these dresses. They don't need them juries pronounced as an exaggerated juries. They don't need that hair. These women can sing, y'all. The crowd approved. Martha, you've been around, girl, he sang. Martha, you've been around. Izora, you've been around, sang Sylvester. I know you've been around. On her turn, Izora leaned way over and came up with a long, deep growl that sent the audience into such hysterics. You would not have been surprised to hear people speaking in tongues. Sing, Auntie, Izora's niece called out. In between, the three gathered together, sniffling and hugging while the band played the same couple of lines quietly over and over. And afterwards, they had to blot the tears from their faces. For the audience, it must have been a bit like suddenly being at someone's wedding. Tearful declaration of love and all so intensely intimate and intensely public. You Are My Friend became the only hit from the Opera House live album. Living proof, maybe because it sounds like an open heart. When Jeannie Tracy first met Sylvester at Honey Records, where she was writing and producing for Harvey Fuqua's gospel group, Voices of Harmony, they'd hit it off right away. One day she'd been working the phones at the Honey office when a creature in a long coat, careful makeup, and a curly, puffy, blowback hairdo had walked in to meet with Nancy and Harvey. I thought it was just a big woman, Jeannie says. The lady, who of course turned out to be Sylvester, was in the middle of a story and everyone was laughing. Jeannie had let out that she was getting ready to have a tummy tuck. She'd lost 150 pounds and the big woman was very supportive. Oh girl, that's fabulous, Sylvester had said. He told her that when she was through with the surgery, he would give her a sequined gown that would suit her just right. She'd asked him his name, and when he told her, she was surprised and embarrassed. Oh, I thought you were a woman, she said. Oh, girl, he said, flattered. He'd noticed Jeannie's diamond engagement ring and whipped out. Oh, girl, you did good, he said, examining the ring up close. After the Opera House, Sylvester invited Jeannie to sing with him and the Tons